All right, so we want to multiply exponents. So what's going to happen is we have like x to the third, and we want to multiply it by times x to the second. Okay, there's a shortcut. This one here tells you you have 3 x's. Okay, so if I write out my 3 x's, okay, and the other one tells you you have 2. Okay, now if we combine them, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 x's. Okay, and that's just going to be your answer. All right, so let's try it with a number. Same thing works. So if I have negative 3 to the second power times negative 3. Now this negative 3 doesn't have an exponent, so no, it's a 1. All right, if I write it out, okay, this one tells me I have 2 negative 3's, and then I have 1 here. So I have 2 negative 3's, and then I have another one. Okay, if I combine them, I now have 3 of them. Okay, and some of you guys can sort of see what the shortcut is. Okay, the shortcut is you are going to add exponents. Okay, so you don't have to write them out every time. Okay, so the thing you got to remember is it's a multiplication problem, but you add exponents. Okay, it's not an addition problem. It is a multiplication problem, but the shortcut is to add exponents. All right, so here we go. We're going to find the area of the rectangle. So area of the rectangle is going to be length times width, or base times height. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one's which. Okay, so I'm going to take this one. So we have 3x squared y to the 4th, and I'm going to multiply by the other one, which is negative x squared y. Okay. Now when we're multiplying, you need to group like things. Okay, for example, I can multiply this 3 times this negative, which, remember, it's a negative 1. So I'm going to group them together. Oops, it's not a negative 3. Negative 1. All right, and then I'm going to group my x's. So I have an x squared and another x squared, and then my y to the 4th. Now this y doesn't have an exponent, so it's a 1. Okay. All right, now you can multiply. So we have 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. And now we have x squared times x squared. Remember, the shortcut's going to be to add. So you have 2 x's and 2 x's, so that gives you 4 x's. And then your y's, you have y to the 4th times y to the 1st. So we're going to add exponents, which gives us y to the 5th. And that would be our answer. All right, next one, same concept. You're going to find the area. So I have 4x squared, and I'm going to multiply that times 9x to the 3rd. Now again, I'm going to group them, but because you can change the order you're multiplying, but some of you guys are going to stop doing that. So I can take the 4, and I can multiply it by the 9. So I'm going to put those together. Make sure that it's 4 times 9, not 49. All right, now I'm going to group my x's. So I have x to the 2nd times x to the 3rd. Okay, so 4 times 9 is 36. And then I have x to the 2nd times x to the 3rd. Remember, you're going to add. It's a multiplication problem, so add exponents, which gives you 5. And there's my answer. All right, scientific notation, multiplying scientific notation, is the same concept where we're going to group like things. Okay, so I can group my 7 and my 6. Okay, now I'm going to group my 2 10s together. All right, so 7 times 6 is 42. Okay, and then now here, these are the same bases, so I'm going to add my exponents. So it's negative 4 plus negative 8 is negative 12. Okay, now make sure, it will be one on the test like this, that make sure it's in scientific notation. This is 42, so this is not in scientific notation. Okay, all right, so we need to take this decimal that's right here, and we need to move it between the two numbers. So I have 4.2 times 10. Now the number got smaller. Okay, so that means this is going to get bigger by how many times I move my decimal. So negative 12 plus 1 is negative 11. And there's my answer. Okay, next one is a substitution. Okay. Now, here's the thing. There's many ways to do this, but here's our problem. And before I do a substitution, subbing what x and y are, I'm going to make sure I have positive exponents. So remember from the first one, okay, I want to put a 1 under this, and I need to make sure, here I'll rewrite it, that I have positive exponents before I substitute, okay? So the 3 has a positive 1, it is staying. The x has a negative exponent, so I'm going to move it down and make it positive. The y also has a negative exponent, so I'm going to move it down and make it positive. Okay, do that first. Now let's do a substitution. Okay, so I have 3. All right, now instead of x, I'm going to put negative 2. Make sure when you do your substitution, okay, that you put it in parentheses. Now instead of y, I have 3. Okay, that's multiplication. All right, and we follow order of operations. We're going to do exponents first. So negative 2 squared is 4, and 3 squared is 9. All right, and then we're going to multiply. So 4 times 9 is 36. Okay, and this can be reduced. 3 will go into both of them, so it is 1/12. Okay, the biggest mistake with substitution is to get rid of the negative exponents before you substitute. All right, last problem. Astronomers measure large distances in light years. 1 light year is the distance light can travel in 1 year. It's approximately 5.88 times 10 to the 12th. Suppose a star is 7.8 times 10 to the 3rd light years from Earth. In scientific notation, approximately how many miles is it away? Should be a question mark, sorry. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is, because it's in light years and we want to know what in miles, we have to multiply. The two numbers. So again, multiplication, you're going to group. So I'm going to take this number and I'm going to multiply that number. So we have 5.88 times 7.8. Okay, and then I'm going to take my tens and I'm going to multiply those two together. Okay, so 5.88 times 7.8 is 45.864 times 10. Now it's a multiplication problem, so add exponents, which gives me 15. Okay, when you have problems like this, again, is it in scientific notation? It is not in scientific notation, so I need to move my decimal over 1. So 4.5864 times 10. Now this number got smaller, so this number gets bigger. And there's your answer. That's it.